Hey guys, it's that time of week again. It's time for the vlog. Thanks for joining us this week. I'm answering your questions. Let's do it. Hey guys, and welcome to this week's vlog. As promised, today I'm answering your questions. So we'll kind of jump right into it. Before we do, in the in full disclosure, I actually already shot this vlog once, and I had forgotten yesterday. I was playing around with settings on the camera, and I had turned autofocus off, and I didn't take my Adamus monitor upstairs when I was doing the vlog yesterday, and I turned the autofocus off. So I did the whole thing. It was like an hour, and it was everything behind me was completely in focus, and I was completely out of focus. So anyway, here we go, round two. Also need to tell you, I am not trying to pull a Casey Neistat by wearing the sunglasses today. But I woke up yesterday morning and my left eye was swollen shut. So needless to say, got the glasses on today because it just makes it easier, because after I read some of these questions, I probably will close my eyes and answer them, because right now it feels like there's a rock in my left eye. But neither here nor there, we're going to do it, and we're going to do it up. We're going to do it right. Let's jump right in. Here's the first question. What city do you like better, Nashville or Los Angeles? And that comes from Jimmy in New Braunfels, Texas. Jimmy, to be real honest with you, I like things about both cities. Of course, I live full time here in Nashville. I travel back and forth to LA quite a bit. I mean, I'm there a lot with writing sessions and producing records. I spend a lot of time out there. I absolutely love Los Angeles. On the business side of things, I've always called LA a we town and Nashville a me town. I've just found there again, I'm speaking from my personal experience. I found that people in Los Angeles are way more willing to work together than people here in Nashville. There's such a competitive spirit to me here in Nashville that it's people want to work together up into a certain point where they feel like by working together it may help you go further than they go, and then nobody wants to work together. Nashville's a very selfish town, but in all fairness, the business is a very selfish business. It's a lot of times not really a team sport. I often say that Nashville's almost like you're climbing the ladder, and the people above you are looking back below you and taking a saw and sawing off the rung below them so that you can't come up behind them. That's not to say that there aren't great people here. There are a lot of great people here. I've just never really played that game very much. I'm a team-oriented guy. I like to work with other people. And that's why I enjoy working out in LA so much. Now, the other side of that coin is I've talked to people that live in LA that they feel that LA is the same way that Nashville is to me. So, to be honest with you, I don't do anything country in Los Angeles. So, when I'm out there, I'm working on a lot of pop stuff, a lot of rock stuff, a lot of TV and film stuff, which I actually enjoy doing so much more. So, that's probably why I like being in LA more. But you know, who doesn't want 72 and sunny every day with the beach? But Nashville's a great place. If you want in the country music business, you have to be here. You can't really do country music from Los Angeles. It just doesn't work out that way. But Nashville's a great place. It's a great place to cut your teeth, learn the craft of songwriting. I will say that there's nowhere else in the world. If you want to be a songwriter or a singer-songwriter, to me, there's no better place in the world to be than Nashville. So it's hard for me to say which one I like better. I like the aesthetics of Los Angeles a lot better. I love being there. I love the weather. My best friend lives there. I got a lot of colleagues there. The administrator for my publishing company is there. So I really do love Los Angeles a lot. I also choose to call Nashville home. So I've thought about moving to LA several times. But it's so funny that the cost of living is astronomically different, as you probably know. A $500,000 house is $3 million in Los Angeles. A $100,000 house in Nashville is a $1 million house in Los Angeles. So it's I like Nashville because I'm from the South. So I'm used to the season changing. I'm used to kind of the way people are here. So it's I like both of them. I like each one of them for very specific and different reasons. If that makes sense. Now, to add the overall cream on top of that, let's be very clear that when I'll never retire, but when probably in the next, as soon as my daughter graduates high school, we're gonna probably move to Los Angeles. So I just like it out there. I like Nashville, but there's nothing in Los Angeles that I do here that I can't do in Los Angeles. Even the players that I use when I cut and produce records that I like to play with, I can fly back here. That's not a big deal, or fly them out there. So to answer your question, which city do I like better? I like them both. I just always have this overwhelming feel of positivity and creativity. It's like it's palpable in the air in Los Angeles. It's like you can feel people's dreams. I used to feel that way about Nashville, not so much so anymore, but out there I still get that feeling. And that's for a creative person like me, that's what drives you. You need that creative spirit. And I'm sure there are people that feel that way about Nashville. I know there are. I was talking to somebody the other day that was just saying they came here on a trip, on a visit, and it was just like they felt so vibrant that the creative spirit was flowing through the streets of Nashville. And I think that's great. I've been here 12, 15 years, so it's like it's kind of worn off on me. I've seen the magician behind the curtain. So it's just not. It doesn't have that appeal and that allure to me anymore. But it's a wonderful place to live. It's a wonderful place to raise a family. If you want to be in the country music business or the music business at all, Nashville's the perfect place to be for you. So, Jimmy, I hope that answers your question. All right, hopping into question number 2, and this comes from my buddy Charlie Hines up in Ohio. Charlie, I told you I would answer your question, and here it is. Charlie's question is a good one. He says, if you don't want to build a career as an artist, how do you do it as a studio owner and producer? I'm going to add songwriter to that, Charlie, because so many of the people that contact me or watch the vlogs or are familiar with me in any way is as a songwriter. So I'll kind of throw that in there as well. This could be a very long answer, but I'm going to try to condense it in exactly what you need to know here. Basically, what you're asking is if you don't want to be an artist and you're not relying on that thing to become a household name in order to build your business, because that's what an artist does. An artist wants to become a household name so that people know who they are and they become successful based on building that brand for themselves. And fame to a certain extent, which I hate that fucking word. I hate fame and famous so bad I can't see straight. But that's what it is. That's what they want. That's what they're expecting. That's what sells records. So how do you do that as a studio owner or a producer? That all condenses down to utilizing different tools, utilizing social media, utilizing the assets that you have, whether it be the studio, your talent as a producer, or your talent as a songwriter, using those things in the right situations that can take you from where you are to where you want to go. Mainly, let's kind of talk about this. In Charlie, in your situation, you have a studio. If you want to build that business as a studio, then that studio needs credits. Everybody wants to be associated with something that's already successful, because the allure or the thought process is that if I work with this producer who's been successful, that success is going to somehow wash off of him and onto me. Same thing with songwriters. Same thing with recording studios. there are very popular bands that choose to record at recording studios that other successful bands have recorded their albums out just because they recorded there. Has nothing to do with the type of gear they have or the space they have or what it looks like or what it feels like or even sometimes what it sounds like. They just want to cut there because another band that they respect cut there. If you hadn't seen the documentary Sound City, you ought to check that out. Of course, they had that amazing Neve console that Dave Grohl owns now. And they did have a specific sound, but so many bands over the years went and cut there because Nirvana cut there. Nirvana cut there because Fleetwood Mac cut there and other bands that they looked up to. And they saw that studio, and that's where they wanted to be. So for Charlie, for you, you need to, even if it doesn't pay anything, it's almost like paying dues. Go out and try to get some of the business to add credits for the studio. Make it that place where somebody saw that artist X was in your studio cutting vocals or doing overdubs. And then it's your responsibility at that point to make sure that everybody knows what's going on. So utilize social media. Utilize all the different tools that you have to let people know your services and what it is that you do and that you've got the studio there. Same thing as a producer. The way that I've kind of gotten where I'm at today is I've been fortunate enough to have produced very successful records that have sold a lot, that have hit number one around the world. Same thing as a songwriter, but what took me from producing a lot of those projects to where I am now, where people are constantly wanting me to produce their records, they want me to produce their records because they've heard other records that I've done that were successful. And here's the caveat to that is most of the projects that got my career started, I did for nothing. I produced them for absolutely zero money, nothing, nada, didn't get anything out of it. But I knew that I would get something for it down the road. I believed enough in my talent and in my passion for producing these records that I knew people would like them. And I knew that the acts or the artists or the bands were associated with the record label that could take that artist to the next level, which means my name's on the back of all those CDs, and aspiring artists and songwriters look at the liner notes. I always read the liner notes of every record I ever bought. When I first came to Nashville, I wanted to work with people that I had read on all the liner notes. Who played on the Garth Brooks records? Who played on the Clint Black and Alan Jackson and Diamond Rio records? Who played on all that stuff? I wanted to associate myself with those guys because I knew the quality level that I was going to get by dealing with those guys. And I wanted my quality to be on par with every other producer out there and every other songwriter out there. So do what it takes. If you're a producer, don't be afraid to work with an artist on spec and just say, look, let's kind of go at this thing together. If it takes off, it's great. If it doesn't, then you're going to learn something in the process anyway. So kind of a roundabout answer. I've got the iPad here, so I'm reading these questions. Is you've got to be willing to do things for credit. I tell a lot of people that there's an allure that who has the most money wins in the music business, and that's not necessarily true because our business revolves and exchanges on credit. It has nothing to do with money. It's all about the credit. Who has the credit for doing what? The more credits you have, the more work you're going to get, and the more credits you have, the more you can cash those in for money. I was telling somebody the other day, the music business is a lot. If you've ever been to one of those casinos where the slot machines, the coins don't drop out the bottom. It prints out a little receipt, and then you take that receipt up to the cage, and they scan that barcode, and then they pay you out. That's a lot like the music business. You have to look at some of these projects that you're going into as printing you that little receipt. Then it's your job to take that receipt and turn it into money down the road. The other thing I want to say here too is that you can't ever get to a point in your career where that stops. A lot of people try, and that's when you see a lot of people start going downhill. As successful as I've been fortunate enough to be, I still do projects like that where I go into it knowing that I'm not going to make any money, or I'll take it on knowing that I'm not going to make any money because I'm looking to the back end. I just took on a project the other day that I'm really excited about, that I'm not going to make a dime for doing it, and it's going to take a lot of my time. But that project has the potential to do something very big. And I wanted in on it. And I know for me that I can take my involvement in producing this project and writing with this artist, I can take that and turn that into money how I do things. Because my association with that artist and working with that artist will bring me business as a producer and as a songwriter. So it's a lot of it's betting on the back end, and a lot of it is betting on yourself, and you can't ever be too afraid to do that. We live so much in a society now where it's just like, pay me. I did this, so now I've got to make this much, and I want you to pay me. It's not a lot about that. In order to get to that point where you make the big money, whether you're a studio songwriter or producer, you have to have done things that other people view as successful, because everybody wants to be associated with something that's successful, hoping that it rubs off on them. And that's what they want. So be willing to involve yourself and get involved in things that you might not normally get involved with just for the credit. Then it's up to you, like I said, to take that credit and make it worth something for you and for your studio or for your career as a producer or a songwriter. So, and tools are out there. Social media is wonderful for this. There are potential and aspiring artists and songwriters and bands all over social media. It's the number one way they communicate. So if you do something in your studio, film it. Put it out on social media for people to see. Let people see what you're capable of doing. And the better you are at your job, the more people are going to want you to do it for them. So that's kind of my answer to that question, Charlie. I hope that it was very long-winded and kind of went several different places, but I hope that answers your question. Bottom line is people want to be associated with success. So what you have to do is you have to be willing to separate success from money. And you've got to be able to realize that, okay, people want to be associated with something successful. In order to be successful, I may have to do A, B, and C that don't make me financially successful. But what I can do is turn what happened in A, B, and C into something financially profitable for you as a studio owner. So do whatever it takes. Be vocal. Make sure that people see and know what you're doing at all times. And because if they like what they see, they're going to want you to do it for them too. So that's kind of... And I have not rehearsed any of these answers, guys. I mean, there's probably a lot more that I could say, and I could certainly probably be a lot more eloquent with it. But I'm just off the cuff answering these questions because I think that's what you guys wanted. So Charlie, I hope that answers your question. If not, you can always call me or email me, and I'll spend some more time with it. All right, we got a couple more questions here to go. There's a few of these that are like... I'm going to grab a drink of coffee. Sorry, guys. There's a couple of these that are they're real short answers. I'm going to go ahead and get to those real quick. Chris in Missouri wants to know, how often do I write? Most of the year, I generally write 2 to 3 days a week. I used to write 5 days a week, and I still do sometimes. But what I'm trying to do now is I write Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I leave Thursday and Friday open to be in the studio or to produce projects that I've got on the schedule, or be in the studio producing demos and stuff that I'm doing for my songs and my publisher. So, usually 3 days a week. I know some of my buddies that write 5 days a week, 2 times a day. I mean, so they try to write 10 songs a week. I'm a quality over quantity person, and just knowing myself, I can't write 10 great songs a week. You're lucky if you write 1 good song a week. It's like you write and write and write, and then you get to that good one. Then you have to go through the pile of shit to get back to the good one again. And then sometimes you'll have a week where you just tap in, or a month. This last month, I was just in the studio this morning cutting some of my stuff. And I just, this last month and a half, I kind of tapped into a frequency and just wrote some really, really good stuff, and a couple things in there that are just really great that I'm probably more excited about these 2 or 3 songs than I have been in the last 5 years of songs. And so, I like I said, I'm more of a quality over quantity kind of person. But I never really stop writing in one sense of it, because you're observing when you're out and you're looking. Everything is a potential song. So if you're a potential songwriter, write down everything. Keep a notebook by your bed. You have a dream and you remember it, wake up and write it down. The best songs come from real life and real experience. So I hope that answers your question. I usually write about 3 days a week, sometimes a little bit more. But and then every once in a while you get burned out, and you got to take a break. So, and I usually do that at the end of the year. That's why I've been producing so many records lately, because I haven't been writing as much, because I like to take a break at the end of the year and kind of, refresh your palate and get ready for the coming year, because a lot's going to be happening at the beginning of the year in our business. So there you have it. About 3 days a week. See, what would you consider the ultimate sign of making it? And that's from Darren in Montana. That's a good question. In all honesty, to me, the ultimate sign of making it is my life. I know that's a very general answer to what could be potentially a very broad question. Some people say it's that Grammy on the shelf over there. Some people say it's the gold and platinum records that hang on the wall over there. Some people say it's the house. Some people say it's physical markers that say I've made it, a number one record, selling a platinum album. A lot of different things. For me, my ultimate sign of making it is the life I have. I love the life that I have. I love the life that music has given me. I love the life that the people that love me, my wife and my kids, have allowed me to have, because this is not an easy business to be married to somebody in or have a dad in. It requires a lot of our time. It requires a lot of our focus, and it always honestly comes first. They always come second, third, and fourth to the music business, because we don't work 9 to 5. I work from 6 in the morning till 2 in the morning. So it's very long hours. My mind is always somewhere else. It's always onto this project or on this song or arranging this. It's very difficult. So when I think about, have I made it? I've absolutely made it. I've made it a million times over. I get a lot of times people are like, oh, you just, all the cars you have and all the expensive things you have. I don't do those things to try to keep up with anybody or show somebody that I have made it. I know that I work very hard, and there are things that I enjoy. I enjoy sports cars. I don't buy them so that other people look at me and go, oh, look at that guy, he's made it. I buy them because I enjoy driving them. I always have. And so now that I'm able to have some nicer things like that, that's what I choose. I just told my wife last night, to be real honest, I buy things because that's how I feel like I'm moving forward. And I go buy that new camera. That tells me that I've reached another point. I also think in that I hope, this is kind of a weird answer to the question. This is a total, I've not thought about this other than right now. But, in all honesty, I can look around and I look at my life and I feel that I've made it. I've made it to a certain point. But, in all honesty, I hope I never make it. Because I think if you ever make it, you stop trying. And when you stop trying, it means you've lost passion. And when you've lost passion, it just means that you're not really good anymore. So when I look around at my life, I look around at my kids go to a private school. We have a very nice house. I have sports cars. I just bought a new truck. We have food on the table. We know the bills are going to get paid. I work with amazing people. To me, that is life. That is making it. When I know that my kids are okay, that we don't have to worry about food, and we don't have to worry about all these things. Plus, on top of that, I get to do what I love most. that's making it to me, man. Because I have to be honest with you, man. I remember moving to Nashville, not having two pennies to rub together, with two very, very, very young kids. We're living in Madison, Tennessee, in a friend of mine's house that we were lucky enough to be able to rent, and we had nothing extra. So when I look at where we came from and where we are now, I've made it a million times over, and I've had a lot of help along the way. So on that sense, it's like, yeah, that's my life. I look around when I wake up and I don't hate my life. I've made it. But I hope to keep making it every day. That's my goal, is make it a little bit better. Make it a little bit better. Because I want it better for my family. It doesn't have anything to do with physical things and things that you can buy, because you're never satisfied with that. But waking up every day knowing that I get to do what I love, and knowing that I get paid for it, and that I get to live this life, to me, that's making it. And as long as I wake up that way tomorrow, then it's like the whole thing starts all over again, and I start tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. trying to make it again. And that's what I would try to say to you. Don't ever try to make it. Keep struggling. Keep struggling. No matter if you get to a point where you think you've made it, find another level and shoot for that. Because the minute you stop and you think you've made it, you're going to slow down, and you're going to realize that there's a lot more out there to accomplish. So, sorry. Anyway, another long answer to what I thought was going to be very short. Let's see. How old is too old to get started in the music business? That's Julie from North Carolina. Julie, there's this thing about Nashville and the music business in general where they say, they only want 18, 19 year old kids. Look at Chris Stapleton. I think the minute that anyone that doesn't fit that profile breaks through, that it helps everybody. So if you're, where are you, in North Carolina? I don't know how old you are. It doesn't matter. You're never too old to chase your dream. If you create a product that other people like, it doesn't matter how old you are. So don't ever let age hold you back or keep you from following your dreams or following your passion or putting your passion into exercise. Because that's the greatest sin of all. If you have a passion for something, you think, oh, I'm 30, I can't be a singer, or I can't do this. I was talking to a friend the other day that just turned 30 years old, and she's like, well, I guess I'm going to have to give up my dream. I'm like, why? Why would you do that? So don't buy into the stigmas, I guess is what I'm saying. It doesn't matter how old you are. If you create something awesome, people are going to want it, period. Now, that doesn't say that, 35, 40, 45 years old, you're going to walk into Universal Records and get signed, because that's not what they're looking for. But that also creeps back into fame and success. Do you want to be famous or you want to be successful? You can be successful at any age. You can actually be famous at any age, but in this business, shoot for success. And you can be successful at any age, because that definition is completely different, and that process to obtain is completely different than becoming famous. So my answer to that question is you're never too old. I don't care if you're 85 years old. Get in the studio and start cutting, or doing whatever it is that you're passionate about. Selling cars. You want to be 100 years old and selling cars because you love cars? You want to do that? Do it. There's nothing keeping you from doing it. Let's see here. How realistic are shows like Nashville? And that comes from Carly in Florida. Carly, not at all. Zero. The only authentic thing about Nashville is that it's filmed in Nashville. They don't even film it at the Bluebird. The scenes at the Bluebird Cafe, they're not at the actual Bluebird Cafe. It's in a set that they made about, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 miles from where the Bluebird's actually located, and they replicated it. So that's not even authentic. I don't want to say too. I've written songs for the show Nashville when it was on ABC, and was very fortunate enough to have songs in that show, and watched it for watched it for a long time. I haven't watched it since it's been on CMT, but I've done some stuff for that show. I will tell you this: only on television will you move to Nashville on Monday, sign a publishing deal Tuesday morning, get your first cut Wednesday. It goes number one on Thursday, and you're signing to a major label deal on Friday, and then on Saturday you're out opening for the biggest artist in country music. It only happens on TV. It never happens that fast. So the storylines are cool, and the drama's cool, and you get to see a little bit about the music business and a little bit of how it works with the managers and things like that. And from that aspect, there's a lot of that's true. All those elements are in place, but how things happen, they don't happen like that. They never happen that fast, and they don't ever happen to that many people at the same time. Great show for drama though, and the show's been absolutely amazing for the city of Nashville. It has. You can't. I don't care what people say about the show. Say it's horrible, the music sucks, all that. You can say whatever you want to say, but being a resident of the city of Nashville, I can tell you that the show has been amazing for our city. Whether it's on ABC or CMT, it doesn't matter. It's been great. But real to life and realistic, not very realistic at all. Let's see. What do I get? These are two that I get a lot. I'm going to answer these. I'm going to do it quickly because we've been going a long time. What do you charge to write? There's this new thing going around Nashville now where a lot of hit songwriters are charging new songwriters and aspiring and learning songwriters. They're charging them to write with them. I don't do that. I also, not trying to be an asshole, I don't typically write with people, new people, just simply because it's a time thing, and where is my time better spent? Is my time better spent writing with an artist that I'm probably going to have, that song's going to be on their record, or writing with another writer that I've written with that we have a track record of getting cuts? I just don't write with a lot of new people because of a time thing, and I'm just one of these people. I don't believe in charging people to write songs with them. It's just not my thing. Now, the kind of caveat to that is if I have an artist come to me or a record label and they want me to produce an artist, and they're like, look, but we'd like you to write 3 songs with the artist for this record. And I'm like, and I look at my schedule and it's like, okay, well, I'm already booked. I'm booked for 3 months out, so I can't. If I have to cancel a write with somebody else, then I'm probably going to charge you for my time, but that's going to be included in what I'm charging to produce the record. It's a time thing, you got to eat, you got to put food on the table. But this new fad that started with writers are charging for critique sessions and charging for writing sessions and all that. I don't buy into that, and I don't do it. I just don't feel like that's how I want to make a living off of people who are trying to learn by charging them to write with me or paying me to critique their songs. I could probably make a shit ton of money if I did. It's just not something I'm interested in doing. If I want to write a song with you, if you ever want to ask me, you can ask me. If I have the time to do it, I'd be happy to. If I don't, then I just don't. And it's not that I don't want to. It's not being an asshole. I just can't. But then I'm also at the same time not going to go, well, I'll do it if you'll pay me $500. It's just not how I am. Sorry. Second part of the question was, how much do I charge to produce records? You can go to my website, thestevefreeman.com. I've got rates on there. There are different rates for completely unaffiliated artists, independent artists that don't have a record label. There's a rate for an indie label artist, and then, of course, a major label artist rate on there, so you can check that. And then I do things from time to time, like I did the fall indie artist special, where I actually pick, and this time I think I did 15. I've done 15 in the last 3.5-4 months, where I actually discounted my price severely and picked these artists that they submitted to me. And and I just had them email me, tell me about yourself, tell me about your music, and I got over 200 submissions. I think I picked 15 of them that I wanted to be a part of and that I felt like I could bring something to the table on, whether the artist was just really talented, or the songs were really great, or a combination of both. And I gave those independent artists an extremely discounted rate, like I didn't make anything on it. But that's okay, and that's why I do it from time to time, to give those independent artists access to the same level and quality of production that the major label artists have. To hopefully give them a little bit of a leg up on their career, plus also make their product as competitive sounding sonically, and from the same players to the same mixing engineers, same mastering engineers, just puts their product on a whole nother level, and I love doing that. If you're interested in doing something like that, you can always email me, and I'll let you know when I'm doing the next round of the promotion, and you can submit your material to me, and I'll see if I pick you one. But the charge is the cost was, I don't even tell people publicly what it is, because I'll end up pissing so many people off, because most people can't cut for the price that I can cut for. So if you ever want to know anything about those promotions, just shoot me an email, shoot me a DM on Instagram, and I'll let you know when one of those is going on. I got a lot more questions, but this has already been so long as it is. I think what I'm going to start doing is maybe a little Q&A section on each of the vlogs. That way I can start answering maybe 1 or 2 questions every week that you guys send in. So if you've got a question, don't hesitate to email me, and we'll answer it in one of the vlogs. The email address is thestevefreeman@gmail.com. You can also put your questions in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for taking the time out this week. It's a little bit different vlog this week, just answering your questions. Got some cool content coming up. I'm going to take you back in the studio with me on next week's vlog, and on some songs that I wrote that I cut in the studio today. I filmed some of it, and it's going to be kind of interesting and fun as well. And some special appearances by Kelsey K, April Cry, and Chloe Caroline. Some songs I wrote with them that are just really awesome. I can't wait to get those out as well. But I hope you enjoyed the vlog this week. Don't forget, if you did like the video, click the thumbs up button once. If you didn't like it, click the thumbs down button twice. Guys, don't forget, keep asking questions, keep pushing the boundaries, and most importantly, keep being creative. See you guys next week.